The Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championship begins a stretch run, a close championship, great diversity, new cars. It is a showcase, and it all begins now. It's time for the Pirelli World Challenge GTS category to attack what is considered one of the great drivers' tracks in North America, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It's time for the Pirelli World Challenge Mid-Ohio Grand Prix, presented by Honda Racing. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Creamer, joined by a gentleman who in 1987 won the Pro Atlantic Championship race here. And Cal, this is a track that the drivers love to come to, but it also is at a period here in the championship where the points battles are starting to get absolutely fierce. That's the first of our Pirelli storylines.
Well, it's really tight at the top. Brett Sandberg, coming off that brilliant victory at Road America, has got his way above Lawson Archenbach in the point standings, but it's only 35 points. It's really tight indeed. Parker Chase doesn't seem to want to go away. He's sitting there in third, but I think for he and the Ginetta squad, they need to get some bigger points. They need to be on the podium on a more consistent basis, and they need to win. They need to take those big points away from the other two guys because they're going to be strong all season long.
And the problem is, this field is incredibly close. I mean, in qualifying, the top 8 were covered by 0.7 of a second. And Cal, in that top 8, 6 different manufacturers and cars. That makes making those points up tough.
It really does. It's a very diverse field, but we've got some excellent entries out there. Look at Scott Dollarhide. That Lotus Evora is really starting to come on strong here in the second half of the championship.
And this weekend, we've had a big development that's weather-related. Normally at this time for our Kia Rewind, we'd be going back and taking a look at the first race of the weekend. It got rained out. So right now for our Kia Rewind, we're going to go back and take a look at 2 great rounds that unfolded at Road America. In round 11, pole sitter Jay Buford in the red Racer's Edge Cinar 1 went side by side with Brett Sandberg's Crossbow all the way through turn 3, and Buford ended up powering into the lead down the straight. Sandberg ran wide and fell back to the field.
Scott Heckert, who had started 5th in the Racer's Edge Cinar 1, also went off on the opening lap, dropping him back through the order as well.
A few corners later, points leader Lawson Archenbach's Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro went off course, rejoining the race with damage, but then heading to the pits for a long repair.
A few laps later, Dollarhide passed Barkey for second, but Parker Chase in the orange Ginetta GT4 found the gravel in turn 1, bringing out a full course caution.
At the restart, Buford led Dollarhide while Barkey and DeBoer battled for third, and DeBoer was a demon on the brakes, grabbing the third spot, diving into turn 5.
DeBoer ran down and passed Dollarhide for second, and only a lap later, DeBoer again went deep on the brakes with a pass for the race lead.
Then Sandberg slowed dramatically, limping back to pit road, eventually rejoining the field and setting the fastest lap, getting the pole for the next day's race.
A potentially sizzling final few laps fizzled when Bill Ziegler's number 9 KTM Crossbow made contact with the wall exiting turn 6.
The race then ended under a full course caution, with DeBoer taking his first ever Pirelli World Challenge win ahead of Buford and Barkey. The next day, the second of the doubleheaders, round 12, began with a standing start, and pole sitter Sandberg snared the early lead ahead of Dollarhide, who moved into second from 4th as Barkey slipped back.
On the run through turn 6, Dollarhide and Barkey made contact and collected Scott Heckert, with all 3 losing crucial track position. Dollarhide headed for the pits with suspension damage.
That left Sandberg in the lead over Saturday winner DeBoer and Ernie Francis Jr. in the Breathless Racing Mustang.
After a tough day before, Archenbach took his Black Dog Camaro from 18th to 9th on the opening lap. Jeff Courtney in the Kenda Maserati was flying and started attacking Francis Jr. for third.
Then Courtney ran down DeBoer, heading into turn 1 and taking second at the exit, but he found himself some 4.8 seconds behind Sandberg with time running out.
Though Courtney made up a big chunk of time, Sandberg held on to the win, with Courtney finishing second and Heckert completing the podium.
And of course, it's been a while since those 2 rounds unfolded at Road America, almost a month. There have been developments in the paddock. To catch up on what's going on, let's meet the third member of our broadcast team and check in with Jeff Lepper.
Thanks, Greg. Well, with yesterday's rain out, a lot of teams are still in the unknowns right now. Scott Dollarhide, during the qualifying session, his Lotus would not downshift on the paddle shifters on his car. Jack Roush Jr. had a bent axle housing. That team does not have a spare, had to heat it up, try to get it bent back into position. And your provisional pole sitter, Scott Heckert, in the Racer's Edge Motorsports Sin R1 GT4, that team came in qualifying, tried to make an adjustment on the car, and that moves him to the back of the grid.
Well, thanks very much, Jeff, and interesting for Scott Heckert. Very quick. We've seen him come from the back before and make it to the podium. I guess it's just going to have some fun for us to be able to announce. We always appreciate that. Let's take a look at our Porsche race analysis. 2.25 miles this track, 13 turns. Not that many cars in the field, but it's a deep field with incredibly close competition. But what could be a factor is weather. It's 87 degrees, it's humid, even at 50 minutes. This could be a real test for some of these drivers, as is the track. And there's no better way to look at it than with our Porsche track preview, and it's with Pat Long.
Welcome to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. This is Patrick Long, driver of the 58 Wright Motorsports GT3R, and this is your Porsche track preview. Approaching turn 1, there's not a real clear apex, so you need to turn in with a lot of commitment, pick up the throttle before you get to this apex curb here, all the way out to your yellow curb using every inch of the road. Hustle the car back over for the approach to the infamous keyhole. Turn 2, long trail braking. You want to let the car sort of come out mid-corner right here, square up, squeeze the throttle early and get a very, very good shot out. This is a long straightaway, so you don't want to compromise your exit. Up through the gears, turn 3, the kink as they call it, not much of a corner. You're lining yourself up for the high-speed turn 4. As you can see, I'll use all of the road on the exit. You come off the brake early, right to your apex, and then let the car run all the way out. Turn 5, madness. Hard to get the throttle down. You need to hustle the car back over left for turn 6. This 6, 7, 8 complex is very iconic. It's very difficult to trail brake into the final corner here, which is turn 9. You can lose the rear here easily. As you can see, completely blind. You're on the power before you know where the racetrack goes in turn 9. This quick section of Thunder Valley, turn 10 and 11, very quick here. Release the brake. You're still blind on the exit, 4th gear, a lot more on the table with the speeds here. Final corner is the carousel, a little bit like the keyhole. You got to let it diamond out, get a straight shot off onto the front straightaway to get hopefully a good run on your competition as you approach the start-finish line here at Mid-Ohio.
Well, as you can see, it's a pretty amazing ride, and Cal, not the easiest place to pass on, but there's one corner that if you get it right, you can make it happen.
And that's our stop, take, brake zone for this weekend. Down into turn 4, you've got to go off the keyhole corner really quickly, get good exit speed, and these GTS cars are going to be jockeying for position down through the kink and trying to get to the inside. If the driver in front protects the inside, you can flick it to the outside, go side by side up the hill into turn 5 and make it stick there. It's a wonderful setting, an amphitheater setting for the fans out there. They love to sit there and watch the action.
There's a reason. That part of the track is always packed with spectators. It is spectacular. But, you know, we want to talk, too, about the fact this race is sponsored and presented by Honda Racing and HPD. They are a huge partner, not just of the series, but, of course, with real-time racing and lots of the developments for the future. We wanted to learn a little bit more about the depth of HPD's support.
Well, with one of the most entertaining drivers in the series, Ryan Eversley. Now, Ryan, you drive a pretty entertaining car, too.
Yeah, we got a pretty crazy accurate TLX back there. Twin turbo V6. We're making well over 500 horsepower. We basically sit in the back seat so we get the engine as far back as possible and kind of get the mid-engine thing going. But our engine's still about 4 feet farther to the front than a Ferrari. Honda Performance Development out in California, they're basically like Honda's special ops. You know what I mean? They take a normal car and they make it crazy. They're responsible for the IndyCar engines and the IndyCar body kits and all that. They just won the Indy 500, as well as our TLX program and the LMP2 program that races all over the world. Really neat to be able to work with those guys. We have engineers support at every race, so it's nice to have that extra bit of engineering strength integrate. Honda fans are crazy. They know so much about the sport. It's pretty cool to have a huge following with Honda, being a Honda Acura driver. We're loving life over here.
Well, HPD and Honda Racing has been a great partner to the Pirelli World Challenge Championship, and it seems every year they just up the ante in what they're doing here. Now it's time for us to take a look at our Motul Pole Award winner. Interesting story here, Cal, you talked about he came in with a 35-point margin. When Heckert got moved to the back, Brett Sandberg gets moved up to the pole, gets an additional 7 points. That's huge, and that means he's with Jeff Leppard.
Well, with Brett Sandberg on pole today, Brett, what are we looking for the race today?
The guys have worked really hard to prepare a really consistent race car, and Mid-Ohio is a tough track, and we've done our very best to get this car super consistent on an old tire. And we worked really, really hard in practice, just, going out on old tires and really trying to get this thing as consistent as possible. So, if we can get in the lead and heading into the back straight into turn 4, I think we're going to be in really good shape for the race.
Now, standing starts, you suffered a little bit this year. Any concerns here today?
Yeah, we've done a little bit, as far as software and tuning, to help that initial RPM on standing starts. So we think that's helped carry it a little bit, as we saw in that last race at Road America. So I think we should be in pretty good shape for that standing start.
Well, and that standing start here is going to be absolutely crucial. But if there's a caution during the race, Cal, the teams and the drivers are going to have to deal with the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone on the restarts. How's that work?
On starts and restarts, as the pace car exits the track, the field enters the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. The lead car will be responsible for maintaining a speed from 50 to 55 miles per hour, and at the starter's discretion, the green flag will come out and everyone will unleash their VP Racing Fuel.
Well, folks, that pretty much completes setting the stage, so it's time to go racing, and that means it's time to go to the front of the grid for that most special command in motorsports. Here's Brooklyn Trammell of Pirelli.
On behalf of Pirelli Tires, drivers, start your engines.
The engines come to life on this extremely diverse, close GTS field for the Pirelli World Challenge here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Grand Prix, presented by Honda Racing and Honda Performance Development. And there is a look at the front of the grid at that stunning Cadillac ATS-V pace car. Great partner for us, of course. And behind it, a field that is as close as you can imagine. Here we talked about it, the top 8 covered by 0.7 of a second, 6 different manufacturers. And they're making their way out, starting the installation lap, because this, of course, will be a standing start. And as we watch this field roll off, again, Sandberg, Cal, tremendous opportunity here, but standing starts, kind of new for this GT4 field.
It is, but they've all been getting off the grid pretty cleanly, which is amazing. Actually, I expected more problems for some of this new machinery with the launch of the standing starts, but they've been pretty clean all season long. Those bonus points for the pole were critical for Sandberg, spreading that gap from 35 up to 42, but most important, he's got the track position. If he gets away cleanly, can get through the keyhole turn with the lead, then it's going to be a long day for Lawson Archenbach behind him.
So, but Lawson can get those standing starts. He's going to be the one that eyes will be on for the standing start when we come back to Mid-Ohio. And also courtesy of our partner at Cadillac, there is a look at the Cadillac Escalade, the safety vehicle. Again, a big thanks to Cadillac.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by Pirelli. Power is nothing without control. By BRM. And by the Cadillac V-Series, the first ever 455 horsepower 2016 ATS-V Coupe and Sedan, and the all-new 640 horsepower CTS-V Super Sedan. The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by Motul, official lubricant of the Pirelli World Challenge. By VP Racing Fuels, our passion is your performance. And by Porsche, there is no substitute.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, everybody, as we are set to go here with our championship for the GTS category. The field making their way around at the completion of the installation lap. Cal, I think that was a crucial installation lap because of the loss of time and all the rain. It's a green track. This is their only opportunity to kind of go, okay, where do I have grip?
Yeah, just to have a little feel, but with no real tire temperatures, really hard to make a true determination. It's going to be all about these opening laps to get a true feel for the car.
So, boy, I'll tell you, they are under some pressure here as the pace car has made its way into the pit lane and the team's coming up to take their position here. Let's take a look at our Kia Quad Box featuring some of the onboard looks you're going to have from the fabulous Replay XD cameras. So lucky to have that kind of quality on board these machines. As you see the field starting to shape up, we always get a green flag at the back of the pack that indicates the grid is clear. And both of the safety vehicles have taken up position. And we are looking for this one getting underway. Again, 50 minutes of competition. And you can see there's a slight uphill run into turn 1. and it is going to be crucial. And the two championship protagonists, first and third, one right behind the other on the grid. Should be fascinating to watch this unfold. And as always, keep an eye out for those lights. When those red lights go out, we go racing. 50 minutes here at the Mid-Ohio Grand Prix. And there we go. We are green. Oh, the bad start by Sandberg.
Didn't get off the grid. Oh, there's a touch there. Buford into the wall. Gets contact with Courtney.
Oh, boy. Carnage right off the launch. And as you said, a big problem for Sandberg, and Aschenbach able to sweep through. And it looked like both Courtney and Buford going for that same piece of track, Cal, contact, and a big hit for Buford.
Well, the initial problem was with our pole sitter, either stalled or had a very bad start. Tough to tell from the head-on camera position. Aschenbach jinked to the middle, and then Buford suddenly got turned.
That's a huge, huge incident for Buford. What a guy. I mean, 3 wins this year in 6 starts. You knew he was going to be a factor. And now it is done. But Cal, let's go back and take another look at what unfolded. And as you said, Sandberg didn't move.
He did, and Aschenbach goes in. Buford had a bad start as well, so Courtney has to go to the outside. He's in the grass there. He's got nowhere to go. It's going to tighten up there. The road actually leads over to the right, the white line there. He ran out of space and just gets into the right rear corner of Jake Buford and turns him.
And here's the issue.
Both front row guys, slow starts. They didn't stall, but just very slow starts. Look at Courtney on the right. Then Buford probably doesn't realize he's over on his right flank. He's probably looking at Aschenbach at that stage of the game.
Well, and then a huge avoidance behind that contact point. Courtney is broken, you can see that. So he is done and out. A huge shame after a tremendous run by him at Road America up into second. They really felt they've clicked on this car now and found some of the sweet spots. The other guy who had a tough start, Parker Chase, Cal, didn't move either, and he got swarmed and fell back. And so, you know, our points protagonist, Sandberg, Parker Chase, struggling off the line.
It's unbelievable. We didn't expect that. We just talked about the fact that this year the starts have been pretty clean, and then suddenly the front row just bogged down dramatically. Aschenbach had a nice start, and I think Jake Buford was looking at him coming through the middle. Probably didn't realize that Courtney had to go to his right-hand side. There was a touch there, and that created the major issue.
In qualifying, I guess it was Sandberg getting the gift with the problem for Heckert. At the start here, it's Aschenbach getting the gift and puts him up where he wants to be at this point. So we've got a Buck Daddy cleanup that is unfolding here at Mid-Ohio. So while that happens, we're going to step away for just a moment. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mid-Ohio. The lights out on the Cadillac ATS-V pace car. We are going back to green after the standing start incident. Lawson Aschenbach leading the field through the infamous carousel and onto the front straight into our VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. He's there. He wastes no time. But boy, Martin Barkey read it beautifully, Cal.
He did. Barkey was right there, straightened off that entry to the carousel exit there and got a good launch onto this front straightaway. Sandberg there in the 4th position trying to settle in. Gaples, what a great start once again.
There's Heckert, who had qualified on the pole in that number 54 Red Sin, already up a couple of spots. And you can see Barkey into the keel, had to defend a little bit on Stacy. That's going to play right into Aschenbach's hands.
And that was one of those moves that the stewards don't particularly care for. You're reacting to the guys attempting to make a move. You're allowed one move, but they like to see it made early. Like right there, he's picked the right-hand side of the road. Stacy's got a run on him now, got a little bit more air restrictor this weekend on that Mustang engine, and clears him nicely as they get down towards our stop tech brake zone.
Yeah, straight line speed certainly for those V8s is good, and a change there is Roush getting around Sandberg, so big change there. If you're wondering which car is Roush in, well, he's running a white Mustang here this weekend, not his traditional red one, the number 60 entry.
Yeah, he had a couple of big incidents at Road America. This is essentially the backup car, which also got injured. They didn't actually see any action there at Road America, but big power moves by the Mustangs in the early going, and that's the dynamic of the class right now. You've got cars like right there, you can see Sandberg can roll a lot more speed through that corner, but the Mustang has the power once they accelerate off.
Yep, that's been the balancing act with cars that make their speed in very different parts of the track. And Dullahite now right there. He's got Tony Gaples right in front of him. Tony, this is a track Tony traditionally goes very, very well on, and he's doing it once again here, sitting in the 6th spot. He had a 6th place finish here last year. And again, you've got Dullahite now trying to get by a car that's got a lot of low-end torque and straight-line speed. It's a struggle.
It is. You just got to be patient, wait for the opportunity. But a great start by Tony Gaples, and this is some strong pace by him as well. Obviously, his teammate Lawson Aschenbach is stretching the lead up front. Sandberg jinking around there, now tucked back to the inside. Dullahite sits there in that 7th position. the two Ginettas. Gottsacker over Parker Chase right now as they come off the keyhole and down that back straightaway.
And you see that and hear that beautiful white Mustang as he now pops out. Going to try and make an outside move on Martin Barkey. He's got to clear him here because in the braking zone, Barkey in that crossbow, a little lighter, but Jack using some racecraft and experience. You can do that here, and he ramps the outside, and Sandberg comes with him.
He tries to go with him. Is he going to clear? Yes, I think he just gets around Barkey before they get down at the brake zone there. So that's what our stop-take brake zone is all about. You can make the move to the inside. If someone protects, you can make the outside runner through turn 4 and make it stick by turn 5. Great stuff by Jack Rice Jr.
And Dullahite cleared Gapel, so he now is right on the back of Martin Barkey. But I was talking about Jack Roush because he is our Optima Battery's best standing start winner, making up the most spots on that opening lap from the standing start. So congratulations to Jack and having a mighty fine race as well. Now let's see Dullahite in that black and gold Lotus just onto the front. Got a bit of curb there, bounced that car up.
Oh, spin.
A big spin by Mark Clennon.
Just loses it coming there on the front straightaway through turn 13. Yeah, he had that issue before this year with that rear suspension. I'm not sure if it had any argy-bargy early in the race that may have created that. Don't see any bodywork rub in terms of any other contact with a competitor. No. It's like the suspension may have just failed there in the right rear corner. Look in the back of the picture. Just going to appear right there as he loads up, turns left. Little moment there.
Yeah, it broke.
Yes. I remember at Road America, I think he had a similar problem, didn't he, Greg?
He did, absolutely.
Off of turn 5, I had a weird, strange sort of tank slapper there.
Yeah, we thought that may have been curb-induced and everything, but he wasn't on a curb here. He is parked in the gravel. So while this Mug Daddy cleanup continues, we're going to step away quickly, but we'll be back with more for GTS Racing at Pirelli World Challenge at Mid-Ohio.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. And by the Bob Bondurant School of High Performance Driving, official driving school of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Ford. Go further. By Replay XD. Life's in HD. Replay it. And by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source.
And welcome back to Mid-Ohio, everybody. We are anticipating going green this time by. While we have a second, want to remind you, if you want to be up to date on what's going on with the Pirelli World Challenge in between the events, well, just check it in and check it out through social media. First place to go, Pirelli World Challenge at world-challenge.com. Great video content, including links to live broadcasts of the races. You can also, of course, go to Facebook. Just search the Pirelli World Challenge fan page, or on Twitter, just look for the handle at WC Racing. And as always, for all things racing, just take a moment and check out Motor Trend On Demand. It includes the archives of all the Pirelli World Challenge races, and you can start your free trial at motortrendondemand.com today. The Cadillac ATS-V will make its move into the pits. This time Lawson maintaining that speed. That's the tricky part. The pace car will then accelerate away, and you've got to hold that speed. Now in the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone, he went after it, and Nate Stacey going right with him. That was actually a pretty good restart across the board, it looked like. Callan Sandberg looks to the inside.
Yeah, he looked to the inside, but Jack just out-accelerated him there till turn 1, so he couldn't quite tuck it to the inside and make that move stick. Going to be curious to see how Nate Stacey, how aggressive he is here on this initial lap, but maybe his opportunity to get to the front and try and hang on as they stack up into the keyhole.
Oh, and right there, Dullahite had a big, big move to try and shut the door on Gaples. He didn't want to let that big V8 get in front of him, and he was able to hold on. Now he's got to hold him off, though, on this long, long run. He's looking to get a little help from Martin Barkey in terms of a tow.
Here comes Dullahite. Dullahite does have a run on Barkey. Does Barkey leave the inside lane open as Stacey continues to put the pressure on our leader, Lawson Archenbach, as they dive through turn 4 and up into turn 5.
Wow, a 4-time champion, and right behind him a 16-year-old who's still with 3 years of World Challenge experience. And it's going to be fun to see how that plays out between these two. But as you said, you've got that battle behind as well, and look at Dullahite all over Barkey.
Yeah, I think he's got a slightly quicker car. He can really roll some speed through the apex there. Tony Gables looks to the inside of turn 9. Not quite close enough to make a move. There's a tough one anyway to try and slide down there. You're not really slowing the car very much there. You've got to make a big move and be very late on the brakes to make it stick.
So So the top two again have gapped it a little bit. Roush there in third with Sandberg. And look at that, an over-under move, I thought, by Dullahide. I thought he had set it up, and now look at Harry Gottsacker, the young man, trying to make a move on Gaples onto the front straight. Couldn't quite get it done. Slowed him up, and here comes Parker Chase and Heckert.
Heckert, as we know, had speed. He had the pole winning speed here yesterday. Unfortunately, he had that infraction for plugging in with the data and the electronics during the session. That is not allowed, so he lost the pole speed. We've seen the patience of that young man this year. Remember at Road America, very late in the going, finally worked his way up to a podium spot. He's going to have to really dig deep to make that happen today, but the Sin has got speed and he's got the patience, it seems like.
Yeah, they've got the balance right, the series has, but that Sin, it is a very effective package as well as being a great little car. Here comes Dullahide now. Got the outside on Barkey. It's just a matter of whether he can make it work down into Madness.
Into the stop tech brake zone. Barkey takes it in a little bit deeper, which takes away that outside move. You got to really break with him. Now Dullahide switches to the outside. He's going to have the inside. He gets a touch. Tried to tuck it in there. Two tight quarters there. Barkey and Dullahide trade some pain. Here comes Heckert. He's going to make a move on the Lotus as well.
Yeah, Gaples already through. Now Dullahide coming back onto the inside of Heckert. And realize.
Nice move there by Heckert. He rolls some speed in, but he's wide. Loses the grip there. Just took a lot of rolling speed through the apex. Couldn't quite keep the grip with him. But he's finally made the move.
Gottsacker in the best placed of the two Ginettas. That's the silver Ginetta with the orange stripe. Third in points, Parker right behind him. You wonder if there's going to be a moment when Harry just leaves the door open a little bit.
This is the battle for the third position right now. You can see the two leaders have taken off once again. I think Sandberg has a bit more lap time, but he's got it in the wrong places right now over Jack Roush Jr. Look at this pack. Here comes Heckert to the inside of Tony Gaples. As they get on the brakes really late there for the keyhole. Tony just takes it in deep enough. Nice job. Hangs on to that position.
Boy, and that may have helped Dullahide out because Heckert had to breathe it through the keyhole for a second. And Dullahide was able to get a little bit of a run, but I think he maybe ran up a little too quick, Cal. It got parked. We'll see if he can do something down into the stop tech braking zone into the S's.
Here comes Gaples. He looks to the inside. Barkey just closes the door. All good, clean stuff. But Heckert now gets a run on Tony Gaples. Looks to the inside. Tony shuts the door. Great battling here in the middle of the field.
It's this great diversity that is so fun to watch. All these cars, different platforms, different engine placements. Just a fascinating study.
Jason Alexandrida's doing a great job. Had an ABS issue on his primary car in practice the other day. Had the ABS system fail. Hit the wall pretty hard there to switch to the backup. So he's having a nice clean run here this afternoon. Just in front of Anthony Mantello, done a great job in qualifying in that Gulf livery crossbow at the back of the field right now.
I think that's a good point on Jason because the team, he and Derek DeVore are going for a team championship. And after splitting events at each race, they said, we're not getting enough track time, so let's look at the rest of the schedule. Which tracks are we already familiar with that we're good at? And max out. DeVore went on to win at Road America, the track he knows. And as again, Sandberg looks, Barkey off.
Runs wide. Heckert to the inside now of Tony Gaples, who again, that Sin is making some moves here later in the race, just as he did at Road America. Gaples is looking really racy here today.
And those Camaros are great on the brakes. That's been one of their strong suits for years, and boy, Tony is using it to his advantage. But now, Heckert alongside.
I didn't expect to see this.
Yeah.
Heckert's showing a bit more straightaway speed than that Camaro, so I'm not sure if Tony's got an issue with the power down these straightaways.
So the battling back in the pack continues. Up front, it's still Aschenbach leading by just a tick over a second from Nate Stacey. They've got a few more seconds in hand. Back to Jack Roush Jr. in third, but behind them, it is a great scrap that is unfolding here at Mid-Ohio. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Lawson Aschenbach up and over one of the great corners here at this wonderful track. Turn 9, the big elevation change right at the apex of the corner, chased by the 16-year-old Nate Stacey having a great run, and Lawson in that Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro carries our iBox suspension cam. And this is one of those tracks, so many transitions here, Cal, and these bigger, the V8 cars, they have the ability to get up on those curves.
They do, very compliant, and if you can trim some of these corners here, cutting through the apexes, it will certainly work well, and using that exit curb on the turn 1 as you take the run up to turn 2. So they're the few hundredths of a second that you can gain if you get the iBox suspension working well for you. And certainly, as you mentioned, Greg, they have a great notebook to work from. The car's working well, and he's getting faster and faster now, dipping into the high 28 range. It won 28.7 last time around, and that was a couple of tenths quicker than Nate Stacey's best of the day.
Yeah, the only other guy into the 28s other than Stacey, Heckert, at a 28.9, so that's another coulda, woulda, shoulda moment. We knew he had the speed. You knew Jade would be right on that pace as well. So, yeah, but that's the nature of racing.
Oh, look at this.
Speaking of racing.
Finally, he's got the run. But Tony's been a demon on the brakes here as they get down to our stop tech brake zone. How deep does he take that Camaro in, and can he hug the inside? Yes, he does. Can Gottsager take advantage? Dollarhide, he's made the outside move today, but he's got to be careful. He just closed the door there. Gets so focused on the car in front. You got the other one right here inside. You're looking forward, you're looking back at the same time in these sort of battles.
And you think, all right, I've got the run, and then you know suddenly that guy's just going to turn across and park, and you've got to dip out of it here. Fun stuff to watch, frustrating sometimes to be in the middle of.
It is. It is, and he's getting frustrated because the clock is winding down, and he felt he had a car capable of winning here today, but Tony Gables has done an amazing job. I think this is his strongest performance of the season and hanging on to this 6th position right now.
Tony does love coming to Mid-Ohio. That team has excelled here, and certainly Tony has often put up his season best performances at this track. You know, Dollarhide going late this time. Is he gonna? He's got the inside. Can he make it stick? Tony giving him room. Nice job by those two respecting each other.
Good, clean racing. Now Tony's got the inside lane, and he's also got fierce brakes, but look behind him, the Ginettas. Can they use him as a pick? They do. Gottsager, nice job there, great racecraft in really seeing that one develop and sliding to the inside and taking away that 7th spot.
And remember, Parker and the all-orange Ginetta comes in here 3rd in the point, so seeing that happen is not what he wanted. He wanted to be the one moving up, obviously. Now, what can Dollarhide do with the very young, quick Global Rallycross driver, Harry Gottsager, in his windshield at this point?
Gottsager, there you could see they're really setting him up, just trying to work him over. He's now got a full view of that Camaro. He'd been watching it from a couple of places back. Now he's watching that rear bumper of Tony Gables. Meanwhile, up front, the gap has established itself just under the 2-second mark. But again, it seems like the ebb and flow is 2 tenths either way. That lap, Nate Stacey dips into the high 28s himself. He was 2 tenths quicker than Aschenbach, so he's trimming it lap by lap. But Aschenbach seems to be in control right now.
And then this battle, and it's a crucial one in terms of the points. Jack Roush hanging on to that 3rd spot, and Brett Sandberg, who points leader when this race started, finds himself back and forth. And you can see there, he's so close to him, and then every time they get onto either the pull from the keyhole into the S's or from the carousel up into 1, you see that margin just opens up enough that it keeps Sandberg at bay right now.
It does, and Sandberg's also dipping into the high 28 range of 128.8. Hackett was closing on him, so everyone's responding to the challenge right now, but again, I think Jack Roush Jr. is kind of creating a little bit of a roadblock in terms of the ultimate pace of that crossbow, and Hackett is coming. You can see him there, he's up to that 5th position. Can he clear these guys, get another podium run like he did at Road America?
He has been able to just be patient and pick the spots. You saw Roush there, car stepping out a little bit. So the tires now, with the weight of the Mustang, might be starting to feel the burn just a bit. So we're going to step away very quickly. When we come back, this one is just going to keep heating up as we're into our final few minutes.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by KTM Crossbow. By Borla, we build excitement. And by Kia Motors. Visit kia.com to learn more. The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by iBox, the world leader in high-performance suspension. By Maserati. And by AFE Power. Advanced engineering, proven performance.
Welcome back. Racing back in the pack is fierce. And young Harry Gottsacker getting down inside the number 11 of Tony Gaples and picking up a top 6 spot. That young guy in the Ginetta is having a great run today.
That is an awesome drive. Just tremendous racecraft that he's displayed here today. Did a great job up into the keyhole on Scott Dollarhide, and he just made another mega move on Tony Gaples.
And as this one settles just a little bit, while we were in breakout, we had a great pass and a key pass, not just for the podium, but for points right here.
It was our championship leader finally makes a run there down into the brake zone for turn 9. Doesn't hit the brake pedal as early as Jack Roush does. Surprises Jack. Jack runs wide, and look at that. Scott Hecker almost took advantage as well.
And Heckert has since also gone around Jack Roush and puts that red sin up into 4th. Roush now in 5th, and then Gottsacker in 6th. But here's the story. Brett Sandberg, since he got through and has clear track, is absolutely flying.
He is on fire right now. Both he and Hecker are running lap times 5, 6, 7 tenths faster than the leaders, but time is definitely on the leader's side right now. As we've seen so many times this season, Lawson Arschenbach, 3 wins on the year, and most of them have come through racecraft in terms of positioning the car, getting the early jump, and doing exactly what he's done here today.
Yep, they certainly understand big picture scenarios and what you have to do to be successful at the end of the race. It's not always about 1 lap speed. It's about making the tires, the brakes, every component on the car last. And he's the exceptional at it. But Nate Stacey had an impressive run today.
He's learning something here today. He'll be watching the attitude and how much Lawson is sliding his car. He's done a great job to hang so close. He's kept that gap within the 2-second mark. The car is underneath him. I think that little bit of balance of performance since the last round of the championship has helped the Mustangs and suddenly made them somewhat competitive again. Certainly podium run here today. Great stuff.
It's been a delight seeing his evolution this season. We always knew he had speed, but at the start of the year we were raving about his great car control, although it may not have been the fastest way to get around a racetrack. And now he's tamped that down, and he is just showing that he is a superb young racer.
You wouldn't think it was the same driver if you look at the body language of the car in terms of not sliding around, keeping the tire underneath. When you start to slide it, it's just going to generate heat. It's just going to go from a bad situation to even worse. As we see the battle now intensifying here. Now it's for the 7th spot. Dollarhide, can he make it stick? He looks to the outside, down into our stop deck brake zone. Tony's going to fight hard. Tony's now going to have the inside down the run, but he's not going to get the acceleration. Scott Dollarhide clears him.
He gets through, and you can see Parker Chase wanted to try and pounce on the opportunity, but had nowhere to go with it. One of the reasons is Martin Barkey, on his comeback drive, has glommed right back onto the rear deck of Parker.
Mantella hanging in there as well at the back of this pack. He's having a great run here today. Not the track position or race position he wanted, but certainly very competitive with his lap times once again.
So that move put Dollarhide now up into the 7th spot. And
looking at the speed of those Mantella cars, Barkey just ran a 28.1. The fastest time by Arschenbach, our leader, is a 28.7. So a question of what might have been for those crossbows here today, and Mantella in the same range. Oh, big move there by Barkey. Gets into Chase. Chase is going to spin. He's going to hit the gravel trap.
Oh, boy.
Is he beached? Keeps it going.
Nicely done.
He'll stay green.
Well, I think he learned his lesson from his visit in the gravel trap at Road America, was to keep that throttle pin and don't let it auger in, and he did a great job with it. Huge, though, in cost in terms of position and thus points. We're looking at white flag we're hearing next time by. Ooh, and he's got a lot of gravel. He's dumping on the track. It's getting on that tire. And here comes Aschenbach looking at the white flag this time by. And by the way, Heckert turned a 128 flat. That's flying.
That is flying. So these lightweight cars seem to get quicker and quicker. And that's really a testimony to those Pirelli P0s as well. As the fuel weight starts to get burned off, the tire is performing and continuing to improve in terms of lap performance.
That's a key component, isn't it, as we watch the white flag fly over Aschenbach and Stacey. As the fuel burns off, if the tires are still there, the car just gets more and more responsive.
It does. And also, we've got to factor in, we had those heavy rains here yesterday. Yep. The track is starting to rubber in. There's more grip developing at the same time. And it's more Pirelli grip down on the track, too. There's different compounds and manufacturers being run here by different series in terms of tires. And obviously, as you get more of your rubber down on the track, it really starts to
come good for you. There's a look at Jack Roush. Still in a position for a top 5, and I'm sure after the last couple of races, he'll be delighted with that. But boy, talk about delight. Aschenbach is going to make up a handful of points here. Although Sandberg, that great move up into 3rd, that's exactly what he needed, wasn't it?
It really was. I mean, he needed to minimize the damage after the initial start. He got lucky there. He didn't get collected with that slow start. But when you look at it, so many strong performances. Aschenbach obviously doing what he continues to do in terms of leading races, winning races, maybe another championship. Nate Stacey, great performance here today. Sandberg recovering well. Scott Heckert showing pace again. Harry Gottsack, a great race performance. And Scott Dollarhite showing the pace of that Lotus. Tony Gaples, what a run for him in the second of the Black Dog Speed Shop Camaros.
As we watch Lawson Aschenbach, huge day for your 4-time champion. 4th win on the season. And with Sandberg coming through in 3rd, that points margin is going to compress once again. And in the midst of those two, in terms of the points battle, a tremendous run by Nate Stacey right there in that Mustang. We're going to step away for just a moment. When we come back, we'll hear from our winner.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by TireRack.com, revolutionizing tire buying since 1979. And by Motor Trend On Demand. Visit MotorTrendOnDemand.com. Start your free trial today.
Welcome back to the Pirelli World Challenge Mid-Ohio Grand Prix, presented by Honda Racing and Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. At the top, getting his 4th win of the season, Lawson Aschenbach. He's with Jeff.
Well, Lawson Aschenbach, your 4th win of the season. You got pressured a little bit there at the 2nd place there.
Yeah, this is a big one for us. I don't know what happened at the beginning. I just, saw the lights go out, and I just put the hammer down and somehow found a little bit of a space between the top 2 guys. And from there, it was just full bore, 110%, and see if we can get this win. So, Stacey did a great job. He pressured me for a while there and was not giving up. I could tell that. But I got to say thanks to everybody at Black Dog Speed Shop. I mean, we came in here with probably a 5th place car, and we've executed. And that's been the theme of the season for us, was execution. And today we did just that. So happy to have a Chevrolet up front. A good win for the Camaro, and just really proud of the job everybody's done.
4 wins of the season, closing that points gap to 3rd place finisher today, Brett Sandberg.
Well, of course, a classy day that you'd expect from Lawson Aschenbach. Now, Cal, let's move in to some of our specialty awards. We start with our Cadillac ATSV move of the race. Had to be Sandberg's pass on Roush for 3rd for a variety of reasons.
It really did. It was so important for him to get on at the podium, get some big points here today. He was growing impatient there, and he saw that Heckert was coming. A bold move down on the inside for turn 9 and clears Jack Roush on the exit.
And with that, let's take a look at our points. First of all, Drivers' Championship in GTS.
Well, Sandberg continues to lead, but that lead has basically been halved. A great day for Lawson Aschenbach. He's tight. Chase maintains the 3rd position, but look at Nate Stacey. Big move today in the points.
And let's get right into GTS Manufacturer Championship points.
Well, it's tighter there. KTM continues to lead over Chevy and Ford, but a few rounds to go. Anything can happen in this chase.
Now moving to our Kia turning point, I think it had to be the incident right off the start because it changed the whole dynamic of the race.
It really did. A slow start for both of our front row pole sitting cars there, and ultimately Jake Buford, shame for him, got taken out there a little bit. I don't think he realized that Jeff Courtney had to go to the outside. Nothing either one of those guys could do, just a racing incident, unfortunately.
And as we take a look at our VP Racing Fuels Hard Charger Award, it can't be Heckert because he had a technical disqualification from the pole. So, even though he made up more spots than anybody else, it would be Nate Stacey. So his great weekend continues. 5 spots he made up over the course of that race in the Mustang. And finally, our Motul fast lap of the race goes to Scott Heckert, a 1:28.071, a blisteringly quick lap. And again, had he not had the issues, he had the pole originally, you knew he was going to be showing some great speed. Well, Cal, that wraps things up here for us at Mid-Ohio. Next time we'll see these cars on track, it's at some serious elevation. That's just another dynamic for the tech guys in Utah.
Well, we can catch our breath. The drivers may be able to catch their breath a little bit on that big track, but the engines don't. Because they're working with that thin air. It should be a fun one.
Always is out at that phenomenal facility just outside of Salt Lake City in Tooele, Utah. We sure hope you join us. That's going to wrap things up for us here today. For Calvin and Jeff and our entire CBS Sports Network crew, I'm Greg Creamer, and in association with WC Vision, this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.